Welcome back to JKMoto Podcast, a motorcycle podcast for the everyday rider, covering current bike and racing news, specializing in track days, club racing, and great entertainment. We truly do it all. This week is brought to you by JKMoto Entertainment, your one-stop shop for all your motorcycle track day and club racing questions and answers. Subscribe on YouTube, follow on Facebook and Instagram at JKMoto Entertainment. And as always, you can also find this podcast on YouTube if you're not there watching. If you are here watching, understand that these podcast episodes are anywhere from about an hour or more, sometimes a little less. Personally, I would not sit on my phone or in front of a computer and just watch this for an hour, so I completely understand that, and I do ask that if you're not going to, there's a link down in the description, take you over to our RSS feed, where you can find whatever platform you'd like to listen on. So go ahead and follow us on that platform, be it iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube Music, Stitcher, Preacher, anyway, any of the ridiculous podcast platforms that I don't even know about, that I don't know if you guys use, we're on them. So go check it out. Leave us a follow over there. Leave us a comment and a review. I like the reviews. I like to read through those. So if you like the show, let us know. Hey, that rhymed. Anyway, tonight, you'll notice, once again, it is just me. And that is because I'm about to bring on a guest after we roll the intro. This guest is an admin for a Facebook page that I have been a part of for a while, and I imagine quite a few of you, our listeners, are also a part of. So, stuck around on this Facebook page. There's quite a few people on the page. It is called Track Day Addicts. So, kind of interested to get to speak with an admin about the page, and we'll just talk about general motorcycle stuff and whatnot also, because that's how we roll. But kind of get some insight of what it's like to run a Facebook page and maybe a little bit of history background on it and what it's done for this community. So go ahead and stick around through the intro and get our guest on here, and we'll talk about Facebook and motorcycling. My first track day, I got the pictures back, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. Drug your knee on the ground at 100 miles an hour. All right. Well, hey, to the audience, welcome back. This is Michaela, correct?
Michaela, yes.
Yeah, I'm not very good at this, but usually I'm supposed to ask you for a bio beforehand. I've been real busy the past couple days and forgot to ask you. So if you don't mind, just kind of giving yourself a quick introduction, and then we'll get into it.
My name is Michaela Rose. I've been riding on track and street since probably 2019, I want to say, on and off. I admin a lot of different groups on Facebook, most of them motorcycle groups. One of them, a lot of you may know, Track Day Addicts. We have a really good team that we work with there. I was a musician for a long time, and now I'm just kind of focusing on family and riding.
Sweet. The musician thing, real quick, I'm just curious. What instrument?
Bass and guitar.
Bass and guitar. All right, cool. I play a little bit of bass myself, or I did. I still have one. I did back in the day. But anyway, moving on to motorcycles. So, Track Day Addicts. For the audience, we kind of already discussed this, but for the audience, this is why we brought Michaela on tonight. It's because I had the opportunity to chat and was like, hey, let's chat about this Facebook group. I know it's pretty big. I don't know if you have the exact number of members.
I believe it's right in the ballpark of 48,000 right now. I can actually tell you here in 2 seconds. I have it up on my phone, or had it. So we are currently at, 52,000.
52,
so
wow.
When I first became admin, I want to say July of last year or May of last year.
Okay.
We were sitting around, I think, 28 to 32,000, somewhere in that ballpark. So we really we definitely really got
Grown.
big in that amount of time. I don't want to say too big, but we definitely picked it up a bit.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. 28 to 52 in less than a year. That's a big jump. So, just out of curiosity, I've never run a group. I've been in the group for honestly probably a few years. I don't know how long exactly, but I've been in the group for a while. I think ever since my first or second track day, I started getting on the Facebook and looking for like-minded people and found that group. I have noticed at times it feels like it kind of ebbs and flows with more or less out of the states and in the states. When I first got on there, I thought it was
Yeah,
almost
we actually we're all over the world.
right.
We got people from Italy, people from the UK, got guys from Japan and Australia that do a lot of track riding. We actually have a couple of WSBK guys
Okay.
and WSS guys. It's it's quite extensive how much it's grown over the last almost year that I've been a part of it. It kind of blew up in a span of 2 years. So the original creator of the group, Donald Storm, he uh, he created the group. I think it was in 21 or 22, and he just wanted a place for like-minded people to go.
Right.
And over the span of the last year, I would say it actually became more of a hey, we like to share information that we learn. This is what we do. Show us your videos of you on track. Show us your bike. Um, I think tech questions have been a big part of the group for a while.
Yeah. Um, so out of curiosity, I don't know. There's almost no way to like tell, but you would have more insight on it. I think. Do you know how many members are like actually going to the track? Vice how many members just kind of join the group? Or
I would say it's a pretty high number, probably in the ballpark of 15 to 20,000 people.
okay.
And then there's a lot of people that join that are interested in track riding and interested in maybe buying a track bike, because a lot of people will post track bikes for sale up in that group. Um, so we have quite a few active members. I think our total active member count last time I checked was around 25,000, which is for Facebook metrics. That's pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
We have, I think it's close to 300 posts per day, and we usually get around, I don't know, 150, 200 people added every week that
Wow.
join. And
Okay.
it's we are selective with who joins. We don't just want, some guy trying to sell his sofa to be posting his sofa in our group, because we actually find that more often than not,
Yeah.
and that gets deleted very quickly.
No. So yeah, I mean, even if the sofa's got two wheels and a motor, no.
That might be a different story. That would be pretty interesting to take on
Gonna
track.
say if you track day for the
I
sofas,
mean,
I got it. My brain's rolling
Harley
now.
Davidson.
Yeah, yeah, easy, easy. True. Oh man. So, oh shoot, the sofa threw me off. I went off on a sofa tangent in my head, and now I'm losing it. Sorry. Okay, that's what I was gonna say. So, you say you're selective. I joined the group. I don't know how many years ago. I can't remember what the questions were, but what type of things are you guys looking for beyond obviously if someone does say, "Hey, I would like to sell my sofa here." What are the questions that get asked?
We actually don't get join requests because it is a public group. So what we actually get is participation requests. So, like for instance, there's a guy that wants to post something that says his name is Sandwich. Looking at it right now, I have two groups in common with him, and there's 77 other groups that he's in.
Hmm.
He hasn't answered any of the membership questions. He hasn't agreed to the group rules or anything like that. So usually what I end up doing is when I come across that personally, every admin kind of does it a little bit different. But if I come across that personally, I'll send him a message, be like, "Hey, make sure you answer the questions and stuff like that." And just to make sure that it's not some bot or somebody
Right.
that has no interest in motorcycles or anything like that. We do a lot of every person that gets added, every participation request that we get, we always go to that person's page. And if they have nothing to do with motorcycles on their page or anything like that, and they're not in any motorcycle groups, because we're actually able to see what groups they're in.
Mhm.
If they're not in any motorcycle groups or anything like that, we usually won't add that person, especially if they haven't answered the join questions.
Right. Okay. So you guys do a good bit of the Facebook stalking, if you will. It's good to.
Yeah, I mean, we have 3 questions to join. Well, technically 4 questions to join. And those questions consist of: do you agree to be polite, respectful, and helpful in all of your comments and posts? One thing we don't deal with is harassment of any kind on the page, unless somebody posts a 2002 Gixxer 750 for $11,000 and it's completely wrecked. Then there might be a little bit of harassment that's going on.
Right.
Next question would be, where are you located? So we have them tell us where they're located, and then what brand and model of bike do you ride? Answers are mandatory, and do you agree with the rules from the admin? Um, I know when I started becoming admins on different groups, some there are people that actually do it professionally and make money from it if the page does advertising and stuff like that. But there's a whole science behind the questions that are
Hmm.
at the beginning of a group when you first join a group. And I know I went through like a 30-minute video on YouTube about the questions that are asked, and how different responses will mean different things, and how to verify if somebody is like a scam profile, because we get, I'd say, 75% of the requests that we get are scam profiles. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. Okay.
um, and then the other 25 we really vet and make sure that they're good to go.
Okay. So what with the like I understand all the requests coming through. You say 25% aren't aren't scammers, and you still vet those people. So not necessarily all of those are making it. What do you think led to the giant like jump in people over the past year or so?
I think the fact that it's well maintained by the admin, we don't have any admin that are not involved in the group. A lot of different groups have admins that are just on there. They're really not even a part of the group anymore. All of our
Right.
admins are very active in the group with different reports that people might send to admin, and different reports that Facebook sends us. So we get about 100 posts a day, and I'd say 5 or 10 of them end up getting reported by Facebook to us to get reviewed,
Hmm.
and a bunch more end up getting reported by group members.
Okay. Okay. Wow. So, and I don't know if you know this. Do you know you have all the group info, like how old it is, how long it's been around, just kind of in general?
I It's 2021 or 22
Okay.
is when the group was formed. 21. It was formed in 21. That's what it says here, anyways.
Okay. And then you mentioned the guy that started it. I guess you kind of already talked about it, but just trying to create that kind of space for like-minded people. I don't know if you want to speak for him, or if you have all these answers, but like his kind of personal goals with the group, or what his original intentions were, what he expected it. I don't know if he expected all of the tire wear questions that came up a few months back.
Well, I was hated in the group by a lot of people because I was kind of the face of, hey, no more tire questions. We will delete it, and if you continue to do it, we will end up booting you from the group. And I was kind of the face of that.
Hmm.
So there was quite a few people that didn't like it, and they didn't realize that it's we don't do anything by one person. We have a group chat, and our group chat goes over everything in the group, anything that gets added, anything that gets banned, unless it's a person that obviously needs booted from the group.
Right.
All of our rules and everything like that we go through, it's all a group decision between people from all kinds of different cultures, and multiple people from all over the world. That way, it's not one person says one thing, they're going to do it, and that's just unfair to a whole bunch of people. It's a kind of a system of checks and balances. We really treat it like we care about it, because we do.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's I
As
despite everyone else hating you for it, I'd have to say thank you for getting rid of all the tire wear posts. It was,
well, I
it
mean,
wasn't.
there are people that have legitimate questions about their tire wear, and they can't figure it out. They're doing all kinds of different things to suspension, all kinds of different air pressures in front and rear. I see those as legitimate questions.
Right.
I always let those posts go through if people are just stumped at what's going on, and they'll post a picture of the tire and post a picture of the bike that they're on, so on and so forth, and give us details of exactly what they're doing with their setup. But the people that just post, oh, how do my tires look? Or help me tune my suspension, and it's just a picture of the tires. There are people that are magic, that
Yeah,
can read tires.
there's like two of them. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave Moss is one of them, and
Yep.
I know he gets a lot of flack from people because they don't believe in it. But I do believe that that's possible, because I've worked with quite a few different suspension guys at different tracks, and the very first thing that they do is they look at those tires and try to figure out what the bike is doing, because tires tell all.
Yep.
Tires and brake pads, they tell everything on the bike
Right.
besides oil.
Yeah. Well, that's in the bike, not on the bike. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the I didn't want this podcast episode to turn into tire wear, but such is life. But it cracked me up just seeing the posts. I pretty quickly found out, or came upon the conclusion that it was mostly trolling. After a bit, everyone
Hmm.
was just, oh, tire wear, tire wear, tire wear. But
Yeah.
it kind of cracked me up because I had a friend at the track or something like that, or had seen, like, you started just seeing people all over the place that it's like, well, let's look at your tire wear and see what's going on. Which, as you mentioned, like, absolutely, it does tell everything, but without a very tuned eye, beyond, like, okay, you should drop that pressure a little bit. I don't expect anyone that's not a suspension professional or anything else to really be able to give me a full rundown of what's going on based off a Facebook uploaded picture of a tire. Like, how hot was
I
it that day? How much do you weigh? How fast were you going realistically? What is the surface that you're on? There's so many other things that come in there, and so that's why I was kind of getting a little annoyed by it. So it's kind of funny that you were the one that kind of hit that up.
Yeah, it really comes down to the best advice that I can give in the situation. If you have questions about your tires or questions about your suspension, talk to the guys at the track.
Hmm.
Everybody that goes to the track, most people that go to the track are extremely friendly. It really is a family environment, and people want to see you succeed. Nobody's there racing at track days unless they have some type of race event that's going on that day.
Right.
Like, I know Evolve GT has the Gladiator series, but you're not racing at a track day. You're just, you're battling yourself. You're
Right.
not battling the other people on the track. So everybody wants to see everybody improve. The last thing you want is, a guy from novice class showing up thinking that he's Mark Marquez, whoever it might be, and they all of a sudden find themselves in the advanced class, but they're turning laps 20 seconds slower than the advanced guys, and it's at that point you become a safety hazard.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it happens more often than not.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
is what it is, but everybody there is really there to help you. That's why the track days provide coaches. Every
Hmm.
track day has a coach that you go out with, whether you're an advanced session or you're a beginner session. You will have coaches on track with you.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, 100%. And that's something that I've always tried to stress is, I think we've even said it here on the podcast quite a bit, is just, even if you've been riding for 20, 30 years and you're a canyon junkie and you're crazy, when you're going to your first one, just go ahead and make sure you stick in the beginner class. If you're not meant to be there, like if you're too fast for it, you'll find out real quick. And that usually the control riders are also pretty quick about picking you out and saying, "Hey, yeah, let's move you up." So that's
Yeah.
a big thing I try and stress to people. As far as selling, just to kind of get back on the Facebook topic a little bit, as far as selling things on the page, how many sale related posts do you see compared to? And I've honestly, I'd say almost every other post on my Facebook feed is from that from that page these days. So I can probably give you a guess also, but just kind of breakdown of types of posts. How many percentage wise, or how many of each post do you think you see in a day or a week or whatever?
So I'd say the most we see is, hey, I've got this problem either on my bike or on track. You know, what am I doing wrong here? Somebody might post a video or somebody might post pictures like, hey, I don't know how to properly safety wire my bike. And somebody walk me through the process. Or, hey, my suspension seems really bouncy. How do I fix that? The great thing about our group is that we have a lot of very, very knowledgeable people. We got
Hmm.
texts from Motor America in the group. We got texts from WSBK in the group, and they're absolutely willing to share information to try to help the people that are just starting. Because I know when I first started riding on track, I thought I was Rossi, and I was one of the ones from the last podcast that was posted. I was one of the ones that wrecked. Oh, I'm sorry, that was the last video that was posted.
Hmm.
I was one of the ones that wrecked on my first day.
Okay. Yeah.
Session number 2, I went down.
Wolf. That's early in the day.
Yeah, I thought I was awesome, and I didn't realize, I hadn't talked to anybody about it. The internet wasn't as prevalent in 2009 as it is in 2025.
Right.
So there wasn't really track day groups on Facebook or anything like that where you can get information from. Still like Google and everything like that, and that ended up being how I found out about Mid Ohio track days, which they call PTR, performance track riding. But I went down the first day, and as soon as I got off track, because they pick your bikes up at the end of your session, anybody that went down, and as soon as I got off track, I had 5 people next to my trailer being like, "Hey, are you good? Do you
Right.
need anything? What's broken on your bike? We have spare parts. If you want to buy some spare parts from us." I had if I remember correctly, my left rear set was broken, and my left clip-on was broken, and my visor was shattered on my helmet.
Wow. Oof.
Other than that, I was good to go.
Okay.
Um,
What
but
just out of curiosity, sorry, what bike were you on at the time?
that your favorite bike, Gixxer
Hey,
750.
there you go. Okay. All right.
I have 2 of them now. One's my wife's, one's mine. We both. She's gonna be getting on the track for her first time this year, but we both love the Gixxer 750.
Yeah, it is a sweet platform. We don't if we if you get me off tangent on that bike, I don't think I'll stop. So won't spend too much time there. But okay, let's see. So you showed up to your first track day thinking you were Rossi, which is, I don't want to say it's a classic. I do think it happens more often than it needs to. It happens quite a bit. I know exactly why it happens. So walk me through how much riding experience you had before that, and then what do you think kind of led to that feeling of like, well, I'm good to go when you got there.
So, before that, I had done a lot of crashing on dirt bikes in the woods, into
Okay.
trees, and off of a double and stuff like that. I raced dirt bikes a little bit, just in like local fairs and stuff like that. I did motocross in that aspect when I was 14, and I think I did it for, I don't know, six races, 6
Okay.
weekends maybe, and I was like, this isn't for me. It's not what I'm interested in. And it was at that point that a buddy of mine had bought a brand spanking new 2004 GSXR 750. And he's like, you got to check this thing out. You got to get on the bike. He was 17 years old, so he was old enough to get a bike, old enough to get his license and everything like that. And I was
Hmm.
on the street right in front of my house. And I jumped on the bike, and, I was decent at wheelies on a dirt bike. I tried to do a wheelie on a Gixxer 750, and I got it up. I was almost at balance point, and the the chain snapped on the bike. The chain was way too tight. It was never checked by the people PDIing the bike at the dealership. I went down, and the first thing that hit the ground was my forearm here, and I took quite a bit of meat off of my forearm.
Yeah.
It was all
Okay.
the way down to bone, and I even took a little bit of bone off of it. I was only doing like 15 miles an hour, but that's really all it takes when you're wearing a t-shirt.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, oof. Wow. So that happened, and
Yeah.
then you decided to do a track day. Some years later. What made you decide to hit up the racetrack for the first time?
So after that happened, he ended up talking to the dealership and everything like that, and then he was able to get in touch with Suzuki, and Suzuki outfitted him with a brand new bike,
Okay.
and I gave him $300 for the wrecked bike. The subframe was ripped off the back of it. It had completely trashed fairings, and I just rebuilt it the best that I could, and that was actually the bike that I took on track for the first time that I wrecked on track.
Okay.
I had that bike until 2010, and then I started bouncing through bike after bike after bike, just because I got bored. And I had CBR 600. I had at one time I had a Ducati 1199, or was it 1198? Yeah, it was an 1198 that I had. I think I had that for 6 hours before I was like, no, too much for me. I need to put this away before I kill myself. And I
Yeah.
let it sit in the garage for about a month and ended up selling that. Um, I don't know. I've owned a lot of different bikes, and I always come back to one of two bikes. It's either a Gixxer 750, and it's usually a K6 or a K7, just because I like the way they look.
Hmm.
And really, from '06 on, it's essentially the same bike, minus having rider modes. The 600 and the 750 from 2006 on is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Um, but either that or it was an SV650
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the SV650 is a cult classic.
for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Actually.
did. I had I had three SV650s. All of them were, one was an '04, one was an '05, and one was an '08. So the cool thing about the '07, '08 is that they started doing dual plugs per cylinder. So you had four plugs on that bike, and it was a much more efficient burn. And just having two plugs per cylinder gave you, I think it was 3 extra horsepower in that bike, which when you only have 70 horsepower, 3 extra horsepower, it means a lot.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that bike is it had 54 foot-pounds of torque.
Right.
So you have all of that low end grunt, but you don't have that top end power. You're topping out at 135, 140, depending on your gearing.
Hmm.
But you're getting there relatively quick. It'll go through the gears pretty quick. But the great thing about those bikes is that I think they lean better than just about any other bike I've been on.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't have any SV650 experience yet. I've ridden the R7, rid the RS660, and kind of assumed that is, at least on the power side, relatively similar. But I do know that yeah, I mean, you go to the
It's
track
about the
these days.
same. I know torque numbers are a little bit low on the SV650. R7, I can't remember what torque numbers are on that. I think it's like 43 foot-pounds. So you have a little more torque to deal with, but the power is about the same. They're roughly 70 horsepower. You can, with a good tune and good supporting modifications, you can get up to 81, 82, 83 horsepower out of them. And
Wow.
I know guys that have done full builds on their bike, and they've gotten 103 horsepower, 104 horsepower. So it'll get up and go at that point.
Yeah.
And with 103, 104 horsepower, you're looking at 65 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah. That's
You're talking, yeah, you're talking CBR 1000 range torque levels. I think they're around 70 foot-pounds, 80 foot-pounds of torque. So they get up and go, and if you treat them right, they treat you right, and it's a very, very inexpensive platform to run, which is
Yeah.
one reason why I love it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is the cheap factor, the parts factor. Also, Suzuki being Suzuki, I feel like it is very easy to kind of make those swap outs for forks and different things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely helps it out. Well, cool. So, so did your first track day? You wrecked in your second session. What next? What happened after that?
I just I was so taken aback by the community there.
Mm-hmm.
One guy is like, "Hey, I got spare parts. If you need spare parts, you can buy spare parts off of me." The next guy that came up was like, "You need a clip on. You need a rear set." He gave me a set of rear sets for free. He gave me a clip on for free, and I ended up having to buy a visor from the guy that said, "Hey, I got spare parts. If you need spare parts." I got what equates to now $500 in parts
Wow. Okay.
for free, essentially, and that just blew me away. That there's still people out there in the world that do that,
Yeah.
and I still have experiences like that to this day where I'll see somebody wreck on their first track day or their third track day or fourth, and they're just beginning, they're in novice class or a beginning class, and people come over and help them.
Right.
It's an amazing community to be a part of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's awesome. I still remember when we were at Thunder Hill. It was like halfway through the day or something. They're actually running all day, but one of the big ones was someone wrecked. They put their R6 down and didn't have any parts with them, and so that track day org actually came over to the PA and was like, "Hey, we're looking for this sprocket this size for this year R6, and then a clip on this side for an R6, and this for an R6. If anyone has them, you please come to the front or come to whatever building or whatever they had there." And that person ended up getting back on track and doing more sessions that day because of that. So definitely awesome definitely a good community to be a part of. Everyone is super helpful. It's awesome. It's great. You never run out of a helping hand. I know when I put my bike down for the first time, I needed a windshield real bad. I guess mine was cracked to bits, and yeah, I think it took me the second Jixer pit that I went to. I was like, "Hey, do you have a windshield?" And the guy's like, yeah, actually I do. What year?" I told him the year. He's like, "Well, mine's for an '05, but let's go see if it works." So we brought it over. It fit, and he's like, "Yeah, only issue is that's my spare. So I want it back at the end of the day." I was like, that's fine, man. I'm not going anywhere." Which I think flash forward, he actually came by at the end of the day. He's like, "Hey, man, give me $20. It's yours. I got to get out of here. I got to go somewhere." So I ended up just buying it from him. But yeah, it's super, super helpful that way. And then, yeah, I mean, there's endless, like, you got a question about how someone takes a turn, where your breaking point is, usually, especially the track day org itself, all the control riders and everything, the coaches, whether or not they're actually a coach, super helpful. I've never been turned down if I asked for, like, "Hey, can I go follow you around?" or whatever like that. So it is awesome. The super helpful. I'm assuming that's kind of what kept bringing you back. But from there, have
Yeah,
you?
it was the community.
Okay. So have you ventured outside of track days yet? Have you raced at all? Have you thought about racing? Just still doing the track day thing?
I did a very small amount of racing. I did wear a novice class back in, or it wouldn't be novice. It would be, what would that be called for Wera?
Oh, I don't know. Not familiar with where
It was
stuff.
like a beginner class. So it would essentially be a novice class back in, I want to say 2003. I was also working for a few, local race teams, just sweeping up shop, and then, got bumped to, "Hey, put some parts on this bike for us." And that turned into, "Hey, we need somebody out on track with us to really hone in these bikes for our riders," to, "Hey, we need somebody to do engine assembly." And that's kind of where I started with with racing organizations. I was lucky enough to kind of make that a kind of a career for myself. In addition to being a musician, I was also a motorcycle tech. And within the last 2 years, I want to say, I finally became a Kawasaki Master Tech.
Okay.
As well as, different power sports like BRP and Polaris, places like that. I was able to certify myself to become a master tech, and it's nice because I'm able to help other people, and that's kind of really what I strive to do. I ended up getting out of dealerships last year just because I don't really like the dealership model where it's charge them as much as you can.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
I really like going to local businesses. I know we have a guy down the street from us that has a dyno. He works on track bikes all the time. He works on race bikes. He does a lot of things. He's a very excellent tech and a very knowledgeable person. And if I have questions, I'll message him.
Okay. Yeah, I've actually, in my experience, it's been really hard to, especially where I'm at now. When I was in Washington, it wasn't quite as bad, but it's been hard to find a shop that I know can do the work I need done on a sport bike specifically, and specifically like a track bike. I always feel kind of weird showing up with a bike that doesn't have a kickstand and has race fairings on it, and it's on slicks. So it's cool that you have someone local right there next to you that knows about that world well enough to actually be able to work on it.
Yeah, I'll give you a little known secret in the community. Dealerships are not the best place to get your work done. If you're getting work done on a motorcycle, whether you're a track day rider or you're a street rider, you ride 3 times a year and you have a motorcycle, whatever it is, stay away from the dealership. Their goal is money. It's not to help people. It's money. Number one. Number two, it's not the best place to have work done because the guys that are in those dealerships, those are just backyard mechanics.
Yeah.
Always. And when they walk in, they're like, okay, you got to take your certifications and you have 60 days to get those certifications.
Yeah.
How do you become a master tech in 60 days without having any prior experience? The last dealership that I was at, I saw a lot of that. And I was there for 7 months and I was just like, I can't really do this anymore. We had 3 good techs in the shop and 3 good techs out of 7 techs.
Wow.
But the 3 good techs wouldn't get the work. They would pass it down to the older guys. And I mean, it's just the way it was.
Yeah, unfortunately, I definitely, had my fair share of dealership experiences. Generally, that's why I kind of just try and figure everything out that I can, and then if not, then I'm do quite a bit of research to find someone that actually knows what they're doing that I would trust to do it. So,
I mean, here's a good example. My buddy Cody, he worked at, I don't want to say names, but it was a Ducati dealership, and it was in Northern Ohio. The owner, it hasn't even been open for a year. They opened last April, and the owner, just started letting people go randomly, and he would send his parts manager, who has no tech experience whatsoever, to California to go to school with Ducati.
okay.
The guy's never turned a wrench in his life, but he's going through a $15,000 class being paid for by the owner. Dealerships are. It's almost criminal how corrupt dealerships are when it comes to working for them. It's crazy the things that I've seen. I don't want to badmouth anyone or anything like that, but it's bad.
Yeah, yeah. we don't need to get into those details because I can only imagine, and I don't need the horror stories. Don't need any more horror stories than I've already heard. So, but let's see. So you mentioned, I think when we were talking earlier, you're located in Ohio, correct?
Mm-hmm. So I'm located directly, almost smack dab, right in the middle of Pit Race and
Okay.
Mid Ohio. So I
Okay.
have both of those tracks about an hour and a half from me. And I know Mid Ohio I frequent a little more than Pit Race. I've only been on Pit Race twice in the last 4 years, I want to say.
Okay.
I also have Nelson Ledges. That's 30 minutes away from me, which where races there. There's a lot of good racers in the area and good track riders in the area that will go there to train. As for tracks around here, that's kind of it. The next closest track would be probably VIR and Pocono. Um, Pocono's it's a good track, but it's not fun for me. It's
Okay.
it's very flat,
Mm-hmm.
and it's how do I describe this? It's very flat, and there's a lot of almost blind corners there. And everyone has different experiences there. But I know a lot of people that are like, yeah, Pocono's having a track day. I don't know that I want to go. Maybe I'll go just to go ride for a bit.
Right. Okay. So Mid Ohio, Pit Race, a little bit of Pocono, maybe. So where else? Where else have you been anywhere else to any other tracks, or that's
So
really about it?
I've been to CMP, VIR, Pit Race, Pocono, Mid Ohio. Um, I think that's about it. I have traveled. I know you and I talked about Road Atlanta. I've never been on Road Atlanta, but I've been to Road Atlanta for a race where I was in the pits with a team that was there. It was a lot of fun. I wasn't really doing anything. I just got invited through a
Mm,
dealership that I was working at the time. That was an amazing experience. I think that's about it, though. I know I really want to travel this year, get out to different tracks, especially Jennings, Road Atlanta, um, Barber. Barber's a big one that I want to hit this year. I want to
yeah.
take at least a weekend to go out to Barber for 2 days and just have a blast.
Okay. Heck yeah. Yeah. Barber is super sweet. Unfortunately, I was riding in a when I rode Barber is with an org that if you're riding for your first time, you had to be down in novice, and the way that they were running it that day, they it was a little rough. I had to follow a control rider around, and I think the entire first session we never got over 40 miles an hour, which was just a little hard to really enjoy the track. And then we had to be in lead follow with the instructors for I think 3 sessions before they finally started like letting us be waved by. So essentially, the whole morning I was just kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuck. So
Mid Ohio's like that. So I was at pit race with Evolve GT. I think it was. Maybe it was Precision Track Days, one of the two.
hmm
And it was the same way with them, where if it was your first time at that track or your first time with the organization, you had to be in the novice group at least for the first half of the day until a coach was like, "Hey, we're going to move you up to the next class."
right,
But when I'm at a new track, I kind of like being in the novice group for at least the first part of the day so I could learn the track. Um, I know back in 2014 when I fractured my hip at Mid Ohio, it was kind of I got scared. I definitely lost my nerve. 2015, I ended up selling both of my bikes at that time, and I just really focused on music and working, and ended up having kids. 2018. Um, and then in 2020, I was like, you know what? I got time off. Everybody's got time off.
yeah,
I'm gonna get back into
there
riding,
you go.
and I went
Yeah,
and bought a 636 and just
okay,
got back into it. I was on that 636 for I want to say just under a year, and then in February of the following year, I bought the bike that I have now, which is K7 750. Um, I think I wrecked that bike that year. I wasn't doing a whole lot of track days at that time, and
hmm
I was starting to get a little cocky on the road. Being a street Rossi and whatnot, I was hanging out with a lot of people that were incredible riders, and I made the mistake of trying to keep up with some of them where they, these guys are turning minute 35 laps at Mid Ohio, which that's you're talking almost Moto America pace at that point.
Right.
And I'm trying to follow these people, and I'm not at Moto America pace, and ended up going off the road at about 120 miles an hour.
Oof. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'll.
it was not fun. I got a nice zipper from that right here. See if I can
Yeah.
get that on camera. Yeah, there we go. You kind of see the zipper right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm high tech now. I got titanium.
There you go. Titanium upgrade. That's what I like to call it. Upgrade.
Yes.
That's good. Well, cool. So just kind of just because I'm curious, you see it being a forever thing? Like, you ever see yourself putting the bikes down again and saying, "Hey, we're done with this," or is it just going to kind of continue, just keep doing the track day thing, or?
I see myself getting off of the street at some point.
Okay.
I do not see myself getting off of the track. I know I'm going a little bit slow with track days right now because everything's getting expensive.
Yeah.
You break a clip on, you're paying. If you don't have, Woodcraft clip-ons or Vortex clip-ons or anything like that, you're paying $100 for another clip-on.
Yep.
Unless you can get lucky and find them used on eBay, which, lucky for me, Jixers have a lot of used parts because a lot of people crash them.
True that.
Me included.
True that. Yeah.
So it's getting more and more expensive. It's crazy because I know back in 2015, I had a Shoei X14.
Okay.
And I think I paid $600 for it.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's how
not.
much the X14 cost. The X15 came out, what
Yeah.
was it, last year or the year before, and that's an $1,100 helmet if you get graphics
Yeah,
on
I was
it.
gonna
It's a
say
$950
ain't
helmet,
600
plain
anymore.
colors. Yeah, it'd be nice if it was. I'm actually trying to get my hands on one right now. I got a pair of CD boots that I just don't agree with. I want to go back to the SMX Plus. So I'm trying to get rid
Okay.
of those right now, but I got somebody wanting to trade me for an X15, which, my boots are worth maybe $400. His helmet's worth probably $750 in the used market, but he's just like, I got plenty of helmets. I don't have plenty of boots. I was, okay, I'll take advantage of this situation. If you want to do it, that's on you, but I will definitely take advantage of the
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man, that's not a bad deal. Not a bad
Yeah,
deal.
it adds up quick. And I
Yep.
remember your build video for your 750 versus your, I think it was your '08 750 versus your '09, heavily modded track bike. You're talking $6,000 just for basic mods on a bike versus $16,000. I remember you saying
Yeah.
that included an engine rebuild. That was a huge part of that. Without the engine rebuild, you would have been around
Yeah.
$10,000, which it's crazy. That's why everybody in the community says, don't build a bike, buy a bike. Because you can buy a bike with all those upgrades for $4,000,
Yeah.
$5,000,
Yeah. That's
six
the
grand if
hard part
if
about
it's
doing
a
it.
great bike.
So the hardest part is then down the road you go to sell it and you're like, well, I can't really can't recoup the money, but cost of
Yeah.
cost of having fun, I guess. So
Yeah, it's worth it. It is. It's worth it, especially when you're building the bike. The experience of building the bike, number one, the experience of getting to enjoy something that you built. You get to see all your hard work
yep.
all the time. Just go out in the garage and stare at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and then ride it and hope that all the hard work was done correctly. All the nuts and bolts actually got put back together right.
Yeah, yeah, I know.
So
I built a 03636 back in 2022, and I remember when I did first startup on it after putting putting the motor back in it, putting the swing arm back on it, forks, everything like that. I threw oil in the bike and started it, and realized very quickly that I forgot to put an oil filter on it. Oops.
Oof.
So I had a really nice cleanup there to do.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, cool. Um, I think, yeah, I think realistically that was about all I had. We try and keep these usually about to an hour, and we're clicking on that time. So unless you had anything else for me, any questions or anything else you wanted to chat about?
Uh, but I wouldn't mind throwing a few shout outs real quick. I
Oh yeah,
know, I don't know if you're part of this group, but Joe's Power Sports Buy Sell Trade on Facebook. Joe
I am
Laporte
not. But okay.
is, you will have to get on that group. I'll have to send you an invite request. Um, if you want parts and you want some type of a discount on those parts, Joe will hook you up. I know I've gotten a set of Q5s from him. No, it was a Q5S I got from him, and that was $400 retail on those at that time. I think was $530. I think I paid
Wow.
$410 shipped on those tires, and they got to me in 2 days. You know,
Yeah.
he gets Akrapovic or Kropovich, however you want to say it. He gets Two Brothers stuff. He gets Dynacy. He gets Alpine Stars. He gets all kinds of different gear and different parts for motorcycles. No OEM parts or anything like that, but he will find you whatever you need, and he will give you a good price on it, and he will get it to you very fast.
Well, sweet. Yeah, no, that's an awesome group. Okay.
And I think the other one would be an event organizer, one of them for a event that happens in Ohio yearly. It's called the Moto Boutique Season Opener. 2023, I believe, was the last year that I was part of it. I ended up skipping last year because we ended up having a rain date and all kinds of other problems. And, it kind of fell into my lap this year where I'm an organizer with some pretty good friends of mine. And the owner of the dealership, Moto Boutique, he's a friend of mine. And I talked to him, and my friend Anthony talked to him. And we're like, listen, this event means a lot to a lot of people. We want to carry the torch and keep going, and we ended up making it happen. And May 17th, I want to say it is, yes, May 17th, 10 p.m. or 10 a.m. There's probably going to be 500 bikes pulling in.
Sweet.
The last year I was there, we had just over 400 bikes. 300 of those bikes went on a group ride, and we probably had around 800 people do different stunt
Wow.
shows and stuff like that. There's all kinds of bikes inside the dealership to look at. Lots of discounts on stuff that day, food trucks. I know we're talking about doing like a brisket barbecue truck this year where they just give you brisket, give you ribs. Oh,
Heck yeah.
real
Heck
great.
yeah.
Love it. There's going to be a taco truck there. We got motorcycle games, slow race, the hot dog catch, stuff like that. It's your basic motorcycle event, but it's really a community that has come together to make sure that
Hmm.
this event goes on this year and every year, and it's a really fun time. It's mostly street riders. There's some track riders that are involved with it, but you see a different side of the community on that day. I like it.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Awesome. 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 So that's Motorcycle Boutique. And remind me, sorry, the Facebook page that you mentioned.
Moto Boutique, and it would be Joe's Power Sports Buy Sell Trade.
Okay.
So I'll actually pull both of them up real quick here. That way you can share them.
Perfect. Perfect. Perfect.
Joe's Power Sports, actually, they just put together their first brick and mortar joint. They're going to be opening, I think, say March 15th ish. Maybe it was April 15th. And he does a lot of track stuff. Like he does SBS brake pads and all kinds of other track specific items. And he's going to be carrying them in store, in a brick and
Oh,
mortar
wow.
store. You just don't find that anywhere anymore. And
Yeah.
he ends up doing a lot of business. But here's the Facebook page, Joe's Power Sports. I think it's reversed.
Okay. Yep.
And then you have Moto Boutique.
Is that also, that one's
which
also on
is this
Facebook?
page right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, also on Facebook. They also have a website, motoboutique.com.
Okay, sweet.
joespowersports.com. I think he has his own website now that he has a brick and mortar joint. And then we have a flyer that we actually just put together today for the Moto Boutique event, which is right here. I know I'll end up sending that over to you, sending all the pages over to you, and it's a lot of fun. I was able to find the right people to befriend and the right people to hang out with, and there's still good people. There really is still good people.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, awesome. Yeah, we will get those linked down in the description. Also, of course, check them out on Facebook. And yeah, I mean, if you didn't have anything else, I think that'll wrap us up for the night.
Yeah, I think that's about it for me.
Cool. Awesome. Well, hey, to the audience, thank you guys for listening. Thanks for joining us. If you're not part of the Track Day Addicts group and you are listening to this podcast, one, I'm a little confused. Two, probably go join the group. A lot of good stuff in there. Unless you're a couch or a dude named, I forget what the one guy's name was. Sandwich, I think is what you said. Maybe stay away
Sandwich.
if you're one of those two people. But yeah, anyway, thank you for listening, and we will see you all in the next episode. Jug your knee on the ground at 100 miles an hour?